Hi everyone, good morning to all of you. Good morning. Today we'll be starting with our discussion on modern India. Okay, all of you know that modern India is one area which is very crucial for prelims examination as well as your mains examination. And as all of us understand, modern India is also very interesting. And we need to start from the very basics. Since this is our first class for the Titan batch, okay, all of the students which are here for your history classes. So I will be discussing few things in the beginning which are very crucial, like what is history, okay, how can we define history, and then we'll go towards which are the different schools of history which we have seen in India, which have evolved over a period of time. And then we'll start with our first topic. Okay, let me first give you the broader idea that in general, whenever we start our module of this modern history, which are the areas which we'll be exploring and what's the syllabus all about, all those things. Let us discuss that in our first 15 minutes, and then we'll be discussing starting from what is history, and rest will start towards the first topic. Okay, so let us discuss about all that. And look, when we discuss about modern India, modern Indian history, we start with the first topic, arrival of Europeans. All of you have this basic understanding that Europeans, they came towards India. The first person who was successful enough was Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama, he came towards India in 1498, and from there onwards we see the arrival of so many companies towards India. Okay, so many companies towards India. So this is how we see the arrival of Europeans. Why do we read about arrival of Europeans in general? We read about arrival of Europeans in modern India because all the elements of modernity that we consider today as essential part of the modern life, they first evolved in Europe. And these companies, along with their trading aspects, they also brought these ideas to India. Like suppose whenever we discuss about Portuguese, we also understand they were the first one to introduce printing press. Okay, probably one of the first ruler among them who were responsible for abolition of sati. So many of the social reforms, economic reforms, and even different kinds of vegetables, different kinds of fruits were introduced by them in our agricultural field. So arrival of Europeans becomes very important. After arrival of Europeans, we discuss about two major companies among them itself. One is British, the second is French. Okay, so I'm just giving you an overview of what modern India syllabus looks like and how UPSC also asks questions from these areas. So I'm discussing about that. So British versus French. Whenever we talk about British are the one which are going to eventually win. They're going to win this battle, but this battle is not going to be that easy. French will try their level best, and overall they will fight 3 Carnatic wars. Okay, 3 Carnatic wars would be fought, and in these wars, Britain is going to come out on top. Whenever we discuss modern India, we also discuss elements of 18th century. Aurangzeb, who was the last prominent ruler of the Mughal Empire, he died in 1707. When Mughal Empire started crumbling from the beginning of the 18th century, we saw the rise of large number of states. And these large number of states eventually became responsible for the divisiveness in Indian polity, right? So Indian polity became fragmented. So we discuss a little bit about 18th century, which all states were there in India. Okay, different types of states which were there. In fact, we categorize states into multiple parts. Some of these states were successor states, states which were formed out of the Mughal Empire itself by their own governors, like Bengal is there, like Hyderabad is there, like Awadh is there. Side by side, okay, side by side, we also understand how they were fragmented. All these states, they were fragmented enough, okay. It was not like about the Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire was now crumbling, and these states were rising side by side. So that gave a good opportunity to the British. The British, from the initial days till the middle of 18th century, they behaved just like traders. But from the middle of the 18th century, they now had political ambitions. And these political ambitions are eventually going to be reflected in large numbers of wars and battles which they fought in India. So these are the 3 initial areas of the modern India. Then we discuss the fourth theme. The fourth theme is British expansion. Okay, the fourth theme is British expansion. In British expansion, we try to understand about how the British was able to win majority of these states. Like we see Bengal was captured through the battles of Plassey and the Buxar. Similarly, Awadh's fortunes were also affected in the Battle of Buxar. Side by side, if we talk about other states like Hyderabad, more or less along with the Carnatic Wars, it came under their influence. Then the major powers like Mysore, Marathas, Punjab, all these major powers also failed in front of the British. British fought large number of wars. Okay, British fought large numbers of wars with respect to this. All right, so British from 1757 till roughly 1856, they created an empire in India. They created an empire in India. India became a colony. India became a colony eventually over which they were now going to control. So after capturing so many territories, side by side, the British also focused on the administrative aspect. Okay. Yes, you will get the recorded lecture. Okay. Don't worry. If some of you who are working, no need to worry. You will get recorded lectures. Don't worry about it. I'm just introducing you to modern India, which are the topics which we'll be discussing. Look, overall, we are going to have somewhere around 34 to 35 classes for modern India. And in these 35 classes, we'll be discussing all these topics. But first, let me just give you briefly like which all topics are going to be there. Okay. Notes, you don't have to worry about it. I will dictate the notes. Okay, this is just for understanding purpose. I will dictate. In every class, we will have this part that first I will explain and then I'll go for dictation. Okay, and you will also get class notes separately also, which will be typed by one of our individual who is working in the content team. So you will get those notes also. So there is no problem with respect to note making. Don't worry. Initially, in all the lectures, first we will be focusing on understanding. Okay, we'll be focusing on understanding. All right. So that's how it should be. Anyway, so let me just recap a little bit. In modern India, we start our understanding with the arrival of Europeans. We'll discuss about all these companies, Portuguese, then the coming of the Dutch, then the coming of the English, the coming of the Danish, and finally the French. Then two companies will play major role, okay, with respect to the political field. And these two are the British versus French. Their Carnatic Wars we'll discuss. Carnatic is a word which we use for the eastern coast of India, the Tamil Nadu coast. Just remember roughly like that. Rest I will show you the pictures, I'll show you the images for better clarity later on. Then we talk about 18th century, the decline of the Mughal Empire, and side by side we see that these states are fighting among themselves, and this will play a major role. Okay, this will play a major role for in the British expansion. The British were not the biggest political power in the middle of the 18th century. The Marathas were, but the Marathas were defeated in Third Battle of Panipat, okay, by Ahmad Shah Abdali. All these topics will be covered later on. I'm just introducing you, I'm just creating a little bit of a storyline that how modern history progresses, okay, starting from the early days all the way towards India's independence. So, British expansion happened, okay, in these 100 years. Side by side, the British also focused on creating administration in India. All of you are preparing for civil services. Okay, so administration was created by the British. We had many famous governor generals like Warren Hastings, Lord Cornwallis. Lord Cornwallis is considered as the father of civil services, for which you are preparing today. So they were the one who created civil services. They wanted civil services to rule over different parts of India and protect the British interest. So administration was created to systematically exploit India. After the creation of this administration, the next thing which happened side by side was economic exploitation. Okay, so economic exploitation happened in multiple ways. We'll talk about technical things also later on, the phases of colonialism, etc. All of that I will discuss later on. But for the easier understanding, economic exploitation is the word to make it easy. For clarification is going to be there. So economic exploitation was of multiple types, like they collected so much high level of land revenue from our farmers. They were responsible for deindustrialization, okay, because England in 18th century went towards rapid industrialization. They started making goods by using machines, and Indian goods could not compete with them. And moreover, they tried to utilize Indian market for their own profit. So India was economically exploited. Many crops were introduced in India like indigo, opium, etc., which were used by these companies for the sake of their own profit. So India was economically exploited. The moment India was economically exploited, then the reaction came from different sections of the society. Okay, the reaction came from the side of peasants. Many peasants, they fought against the British, like we have this famous Rangpur Dhing of 1783. Later on also we find many kinds of peasant rebellions, okay, like the Indigo Rebellion of 1859-1860, then the Deccan Riots, which will come towards 1875. So many a time we see peasants fought against the British. Side by side we see tribals. Many tribals fought, okay, against the British in their own areas. Okay, in their own areas, like we'll discuss later on about Coal Rebellion, we'll discuss about Santhal Rebellion, we'll talk later on even about the Munda Rebellion. So many of the tribals of India, they tried their level best to fight against the British. And one of the culmination of these resistance, which were seen from the peasant and the tribal, the biggest challenge faced by the British was the revolt of 1857. In 1857, it was a massive revolt. Okay, first there was a mutiny in the Indian army, and then later on large number of people, they became part of this revolt. So this is roughly the first half of our discussion. It is the Abni, good morning to you. Okay, this is the first half of our discussion, starting from the arrival of the Europeans all the way up to the revolt of 1857. And this is a very interesting part. We will discuss each and every detail slowly, but this is the first part of our discussion. Then after this, we go towards the next phase of the modern history. The next phase is the rise of nationalism in India. Slowly what we see that nationalism rises. Okay, we'll talk about rise of nationalism in India. Nationalism means a sense of belongingness, a sense of unity among people. So nationalism started rising in India. Why nationalism was rising? Because everybody was getting exploited by the British. Okay, everybody was getting exploited by the British. They were facing a challenge. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. Yes, Shanti, it's relatively easy to start with modern history, because in ancient India, medieval history, we have too much of technicality. But anyway, later on I will introduce that part also. Don't worry about it. It's easy to start with modern India because all of us are easily able to relate with it. So that's why we always start with modern India, and it's easy for the beginners, for everyone who is understanding for the first time in detail. Okay, so no need to worry. Later on I'll be taking ancient, medieval, because in Titan batch I'll be taking each and every part, so no need to worry about anything. I already told you in the introductory part that I myself have cleared this exam multiple times, right? And side by side I have been one of the toppers of history also of the last 10 years. So no need to worry about anything. I know the procedures which will work, and all types of doubts, etc., will be taken by me. So no need to worry. We'll go as it is required by the students. There will not be any hurry. We are here for the sake of your benefit, and you are here for the sake of clearing this examination. So we'll work together. We are going to become a team, and then eventually we'll succeed. Okay, so no need to worry. Just get these notions out of your head, that which part should be done first, second, third. That doesn't matter. What matters a lot is the part. This is the most important part from the point of view of examination. That's why we take it in detail. Naturally, this year they have asked few more questions from ancient India. So we'll discuss that. Later on, we'll have classes for that also. Okay, no need to worry about it. Okay. So let us now try to understand a little bit more. So nationalism started rising in India. Nationalism means a sense of belongingness. Okay, a sense of belongingness, where people feel that they are part of a bigger group, they are part of a community which is having a common culture, which is having a common history, and they can live together and they can think about a common vision for the future. This is what it is about. Okay, this is what it is about. Tips I will give for remembering. First, let me teach something. Later on, we'll discuss about that. Okay. Atul, as everybody has pointed out, Titan is an English batch. Okay, so I have to use English throughout, because we may have students who may not understand Hindi. So we have to take care of them. It is very clearly mentioned it is an English batch. Anyway, in between, if it is required, but after taking permission from all of you, I will use little bit of Hindi, but not in the first class, because naturally this is the first class and we are interacting for the sake of understanding the syllabus, for the sake of other things. So we should not create an environment which lowers any kind of trust. Okay, So that's how it's going to be. Anyway, so nationalism started rising in India. Along with nationalism, we also see large number of reform movements. Okay, large number of reform movements also beginning in India. People like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Keshav Chandra Sen, Swami Dyanand, Swami Vivekanand, all these people started working in reforming Indian society. Look, no society can move forward by sticking to old principles. You have to get out of your head. You have to go towards new principles of equality, liberty, fraternity, all these principles. Right? All of you know a little bit about your preamble of India. In preamble of India, we see the initial level of ideas which were required to transform this society. Over a period of time, we'll see further refinement, but these are the principles on which modernity is based upon. So all these things started, okay, all these things started working, all right. So nationalism is something which is going to be a very important part. Slowly what we will see is that along with nationalism, we will see the rise of political associations in India. All of you need to understand this. I'll take this topic in detail later on, that nationalism in itself, okay, nationalism in itself in cultural sense, in the cultural arena, cannot bring big change until we have certain political association, we can work together and we can eventually come out with political demands. So in India, we see the beginning of political associations starting from 1830s itself from the Bengal region, but they were not very effective. By 1870s, we saw the rise of very strong political associations, and finally it culminated in the creation of Indian National Congress in 1885. In the culmination of Indian National Congress in 1885. This is how we see the next stage, and starting from 1885, okay, starting from 1885, it was about the rise of the people in a very united fashion, and they started doing politics at least on a part-time basis. Okay, nationalist Priyanshu is someone who is working to somehow protect the interest of the country. Like suppose if we call somebody a nationalist, that person would always go for those kinds of things which are very, very important for our country. Like suppose somebody who is working for the development is more or less a person who is also a nationalist. Okay, so in this sense, when we were fighting against the British, it was about fighting against the British and or telling them that what wrong things you are doing in India, or negotiating reforms so that it can help Indians. So protecting the interest of the Indian people, that's what the word nationalist is linked to. Okay, nation is a cultural concept. Nation meaning is a cultural concept where we feel that we are part of a larger society, where we have a common history and we can work together in the future. That is what nationalism is all about. And people who practice nationalism, who become part of this nationalist ideas, naturally are the one who are going to ensure the better protection of interests. So political associations started forming in India, and eventually we see creation of Indian National Congress. Then we see different kinds of political ideologies, okay, because political ideologies differ a lot. Initially, we saw the rise of the group who were known as moderates. People like Dada Bhai Naroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Firoz Shah Mehta, Surendranath Banerjee, all these people, okay, all these people were labeled as moderates. They were known as moderates because these people asked for reforms in a very polite manner. They came and said that, okay, please give us some reforms in the civil services, please reduce this drain of wealth, all those things, reforms. They asked for basic reforms in a very gradual form. So prayer, petition, press, these were the methods which were used by these moderates. But British did not listen too much to them. British did not listen too much to them, and eventually in 1905, Bengal was partitioned by Lord Curzon. Once Bengal was partitioned, it changed India. It changed India. Why? Because the national consciousness increased all of a sudden. Everybody realized that British are not here for our benefit. Okay, they used to tell us that we are in India because we want to civilize you. All of you are our project. We are the schoolmaster and you are the students. So all these kinds of ideas which they used to tell us, we realize all of them were fake. And that's why starting from 1905, we see the rise of a new faction, okay, within Indian politics, and they are known as extremists. Three people are very prominent in this group who are known as extremists, which includes Bal Gangadhar Tilak, we have Lala Lajpat Rai, and we have Bipin Chandra Pal. These three became the major trio who are going to fight against the British rule. So extremist as a group now was working on the principle of Bahiskar, that we will not cooperate with the government in any sense. They also became responsible for the rise of this Savdeshi movement. Even though Savdeshi movement resolution was taken by the moderates, but the pressure which was created on the British was essentially created by the extremists. So after this, Indian politics started shifting towards a little bit of different kind of ideas, okay, with the rise of extremists. We saw some movements like Savdeshi movement, later on Home Rule movement also came into the picture, where we see some contribution from a foreigner, and her name was Annie Besant. And naturally, there were multiple events which were happening in the world, like the outbreak of the First World War, etc., which will also affect Indian politics. And naturally, we'll see the arrival of our father of nation, Gandhiji. So Gandhiji, he was born in Porbandar. He studied very well. Eventually, he went to England for his law. After that, he started working in South Africa in 1893. And from 1893 till 1914, he largely remained in South Africa. And there he realized the kind of challenges faced by the Indian community, even by the other part of the Asias, like even the Chinese people who were facing challenge in South Africa. He fought for their rights, and eventually after a compromise, he came back to India. After coming back to India in early 1915, he started learning about Indian politics. He supported the peasant issues, he supported them in the Champaran Satyagraha, he supported workers in the Ahmedabad mill strike, he also supported the community as a whole in Kheda Satyagraha. So after coming back to India, Gandhiji first took small initiatives, and then he became slowly the main leader of India's freedom struggle. Gandhiji, in a real sense, he became the national leader starting from Rowlatt Satyagraha. So with the arrival of Gandhiji, we say that mass politics now became more and more massive. Okay, it is not like that he was responsible for the mass politics. He was, yes, he had learned this thing from the extremist itself, but over a period of time, he had his original ideas which he implemented. So Gandhiji became responsible for this big fight with the British, and he led India in multiple movements, okay, like starting from Rowlatt Satyagraha. So Rowlatt, it was an act which was inhibiting freedom of Indians, so he fought against it. After Rowlatt Satyagraha, non-cooperation movement, I'm writing in short form NCM, non-cooperation movement, then civil disobedience movement, CDM, and later on in the 1940s, he will also lead Quit India movement. These are the major active phases of Gandhian struggle. Okay, these are the active phases of Gandhian struggle. Okay, and over a period of time, what we will see, Gandhiji's idea will also get radicalized. When Gandhiji, he was leading India's national movement, he was not the only one. Along with him, we see the rise of many socialists like Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose remained one of the biggest personality in India's modern history. He played a very crucial role. He used to criticize some of the ideas of Gandhiji, but at the same time, he had very deep respect for Gandhiji. He was the one, Subhash Chandra Bose was the one who told Gandhiji that he is the father of the nation. Because Gandhiji, he was trying to unite people. India is a very diverse country, okay? And we have different languages, different festivals, many things which are different from each other. At the same time, we have underlying unity also. So Gandhiji was the one who played this very crucial role in uniting these people. Okay, in uniting these people, he played a very important role. Okay, like Kavish is asking this question that why Gandhiji is known as the father of the nation when we had other big leaders also who fought for independence. It's a very nice question, Kavish. So, what actually happens is this, that in every country you have to choose one person. Okay, that's the only thing. If we go by rational basis, we should not call anyone as the father of the nation, but it's an emotional way or emotional expression. Okay, and in history also this is how it works. Someone becomes a taller leader and majority of the research is also about that leader. So in Indian history we have seen that Gandhiji has become the tallest leader, And why? Because in general, Gandhiji was appreciated by his followers also, and even those people who used to criticize him. Like Subhash Chandra Bose criticized many of the ideas of Gandhiji, but still he was the one, he used the word father of the nation. And since Subhash Chandra Bose himself used this word, so this has become an accepted way of addressing Gandhiji. And since he had played a crucial role in uniting communities in India, to some extent it looks correct also. But anyway, it's a debate, and we can debate over it for for an hour, and we will do these kinds of things, because I have to ensure personality development also. Whenever we read something, we should think side by side. It's not about cramming things. You should create the fundamentals. I'll give you examples of father of the nation of other countries also. Okay, when we read world history, when we'll read a little bit about Muhammad Ali Jinnah, all those things also we will try to understand. All of you need to understand that, like, in India, we see that there was independence in 1947, but this independence came along with partition. And why did that happen? That is also a separate theme which we discuss. We call it separatism and partition. So for that, we will discuss about Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Okay, we'll talk about Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, initially he was also a member of Indian National Congress. Okay, initially he was a member of Indian National Congress. Later on he joined Muslim League also. And for the initial days, he was not a person who was a believer in separatism, and he did not use even the communal policies in the beginning. Communal policy means dividing people on the basis of their religion. He was not a person like that. In fact, he was also regarded as an ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity by one of the other leader of India's national movement. And she was a very prominent one, right? Sarojini Naidu. So Sarojini Naidu considered him as an ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. In fact, till 1920s, till in fact 1930, in fact, we had a kind of a bonhomie. There was no problem, there was no challenge as such. But Muhammad Ali Jinnah, slowly he started drifting away. But still, nobody asked for Pakistan. Many people do not know it, because all of us, we just talk about Pakistan in some sense, some political sense, which doesn't bring us the reality into the picture. Nobody talked about Pakistan till 1933. In fact, there was a text which was written in 1933. This text, if you wish to just Google it, you can Google it. Its text was now or never. There was a person by the name of Chaudhry Rahmat Ali. Okay, there was a person by the name of Chaudhry Rahmat Ali. Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, he was the one who used the word Pakistan for the first time. And Pakistan is an abbreviation. Okay, Pakistan is an abbreviation. P for Punjab, A for Afghanistan, K for Kashmir, like this. And the word Pak in Urdu means pure. Okay, the word Pak in Urdu, it means pure. But today the things have just went in a different direction, but at least at the philosophical level, okay, the word Pak means pure. All right. So Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, he was not the founder. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he was not the founder of Muslim League. Muslim League was founded in 1906 by Muhammad Aga Khan. He joined in 1913, Abhishek. Okay. So in 1913, he had joined Muslim League. For the initial days, there was no challenge as such. There was no talk about Pakistan. For the first time, they talked about Pakistan in 1933, and nobody took it seriously. There was no political demand. It was more of a document. Like, suppose if I publish a research paper, if I publish something, that doesn't mean everybody is asking for it. So nobody was talking about this. But the biggest defining point in Indian history came in 1937. Let me just give you a little bit of idea about it. What actually happened in 1937? That elections happened in India. Okay, 1937 elections happened in India. In these elections of 1937, both Congress as well as Muslim League, they participated. Muslim League was not able to win even a single state, not even a single province, okay, in majority. And that's why Muhammad Ali Jinnah came to Jawaharlal Nehru and asked him that let us make a unity government, okay. And Muhammad Ali Jinnah came out with sweets. He just gave sweets, congratulated Jawaharlal Nehru and told him, let us make a unity government. Jawaharlal Nehru, he accepted sweets but rejected his offer. And that is something which affected the ego of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. After 1937, Muslim League and Muhammad Ali Jinnah, they went into a completely different direction. propaganda became the order of the day. Okay, in fact, he has written in in one of his article that I have created Pakistan with the help of my typewriter. So he takes this whole the manner in which Pakistan was created. He thinks that it is only him and his propaganda which was responsible for the creation of Pakistan. So Pakistan demand did not came initially. Muhammad Ali Jinnah only drifted towards this after 1937, and for the first time the resolution for this Pakistan, it only came in 1940 in Lahore. Before that, there was no resolution of Pakistan. And naturally, after in 1939, we had seen the outbreak of Second World War. Hitler, he had attacked Poland, and this also affected Indian politics side by side. And then from thereafter, we see many constitutional negotiations, but Jinnah was not happy with any one of them. Then he started using n number of things, but still, India may not have got partitioned. In 1946, both Congress as well as Muslim League, they had accepted cabinet mission plan. But again, after a few days, Jinnah said otherwise. He said, I don't accept this cabinet mission plan. And finally, he went for direct action day, riots in Calcutta, riots in Noakhali, riots in Punjab, and it became next to impossible to handle this. Large number of people were dying on daily basis. What would you do if you would have been the leader at that point of time? So that's why in 1947, it became a very difficult task for leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, even Gandhiji and other major leaders. They had to take a decision. Interim government was working, but it was not having all the powers which were required to bring down these communal tendencies in India. That's why finally on 3rd of June 1947, Mountbatten came out with a plan which was accepted by both Congress as well as Muslim League, and it eventually accepted the partition of India, which was implemented on 15th of August, 14th and 15th of August. On 14th of August, Pakistan became independent. 15th of August, India became independent. So this is something which we have to understand. Okay, we'll discuss in detail about all these things in the coming times. I'm just giving you an overview. Okay, the overview is about like this, that modern India is having a big syllabus. Okay, there's a very big syllabus. We'll talk about this whole politics from 37 to 1947, twists and turns, and how eventually we see the partition. After the modern India, we will also discuss a little bit about post-independence also, how after 1947, India was consolidated for the first time in the real manner by an Indian government. So we'll see the contribution of Jawaharlal Nehru. Recently, there were a little bit of comparison also between Jawaharlal Nehru and Modi ji, that who has been here for the more number of days, etc., contribution, etc., etc. So all those things will be taken care of. Okay, all those things will be taken care of, but that's a part later on we'll discuss. Okay, so this is the very brief introduction of the syllabus. Very brief introduction of the things which we will be discussing in the coming times. I have not discussed about anything in detail. Okay, this is just like telling you, okay, this is what we are planning to do. Starting from the arrival of the Europeans, we will go all the way up to independence with partition. So from 1750s all the way up to the 1947. So we'll be discussing roughly about 200 years of history in detail, but a little bit of early history with the arrival of Portuguese, with the arrival of the British and Dutch, etc. We will also cover that a little bit, and then our major focus will be from 1757 all the way up to 1947. This is the area which we have to understand in detail. And this is from where UPSC will also ask you multiple questions. Okay, in this year's prelims, we have seen that the questions of modern India were relatively doable in comparative sense to some of the other questions of, like, suppose ancient India or even the culture part. So modern India was not very difficult. Modern India was one area which we could have done relatively easily. Okay, and in my previous foundation batches also, in Titan and even in Prahar, in all the other batches of PW only IS, I had discussed all these topics. So we will be trying to create the best of the best foundation which is possible. I would need your support. Okay, many of you are reading or studying for the first time. I'll be requiring your support. Okay, all right. Kavish, it is important to make your own notes. Okay, like Abhishek sir, he's also teaching along with me at PW only IS, and there are very good notes there of his classes. I've also seen them. So you just make your own notes. Okay, allow as per your understanding, because look, anybody's notes you will borrow, they are from their perspective. So you have to make it from your own perspective. And when I will be discussing, okay, when I'll be discussing in the classes, my idea is that along with prelims, I should focus on mains. Okay, I should focus on answer writing also. So my notes are going to be more mains oriented, and in between I will giving you information with respect to prelims. So my notes are going to be of a different orientation in general from the Abhishek sir. But anyway, both notes are good. Both are good enough for clearing the civil services. So you have to do it on your own, the part, because it more or less leads to personalization of your own notes, and you will be easy. It will be easy for you to remember and revise it. I hope it is clear. Okay, so you have just cleared 12th board. So very young people are here with me. The youthful energy. Okay, it's always delightful. All of us, we can work together. We can work for more hours. We can have more homeworks. Okay, side by side. So many of you are now free from the homeworks after clearing the 12th. Okay. All right. So I hope everybody is able to understand. I have just given you basic ideas about these things. Okay. All right. So now, let me tell you 4 or 5 or more things, like which should be the resources which you should study on your own, how to improve your answer writing, all those basic things I'll be discussing now, 15-20 minutes. Then I will start with the basic meaning of what is history, how many schools of history are in India, who wrote our history for the first time, how the British are responsible for doing a little bit of more research for us, and how we see history today. So that is going to be a discussion of an hour. We'll discuss about that. But first, let me tell you what you need to do, what you don't need to do, etc., etc. Okay. So let us now see that. Let us now see that, because many people will ask me on daily basis, should we read this book, should we read that book? So let me just tell you for once and for all. Look, when we talk about which resources we should go for, first let me give you a philosophy. Okay, first let me give you a philosophy, then I'll give you the exact which book you need to read. Look, all of you know about India. Okay, the India that is today. I hope all of you are aware about the things which are happening in India, the level of development of India. What does UPSC need from you? What does UPSC need from you? What does this country need from you? Okay, why are we having this exam of civil services? We need those kind of people who can effectively utilize less amount of resources for the benefit of majority of the population. So you will always have less resources. Okay, you will never have more resources, because right now we are not an advanced economy. We are a developing economy. We have less resources. And this is the expectation of UPSC from you also, that you have to use minimal resources to produce the maximum output. That's why they have given you so big syllabus. Modern history is not the only subject which you are studying. Okay, my friends, side by side, you just look at what you have to go through. Okay, once you start studying for civil services, then only you realize what all you have to go through. We have so many subjects in prelims: polity, economy, history. We have 4 or 5 parts in history. Ancient, medieval, modern is going to be there, art and culture is going to be there, world history is going to be there, post-independence is going to be there. Even for mains, some part is more relevant for mains, but little bit of question can come here and there. Side by side, geography, environment, science and tech, international relations, current, like one of the students was asking about current affairs. Okay, so since you have to read so many subjects and you have to master many skills, for prelims you should know how to solve questions. Okay, how to understand question very quickly. The time is the big challenge. In mains, it's about answer writing. Answer writing becomes a big challenge for the mains. And then you have to side by side also work on your personality, so that you can present yourself in the interview also. So because of this whole circle, one thing you have to always keep in mind: do not read too many resources, and do not go for too many resources, because in the end it will become impossible to handle all of them. And for a single subject, the strategy should be very clear, that you should read one major book and one could be a supplementary book. Now I hope you got the overall philosophy, because many of you are studying for the first time. So I have to give you this philosophy. Look, I would not have cleared this examination if I would have been reading too many books. Why? Because you cannot consolidate them. You cannot make notes from n number of books. So for modern history, look what you need to do. Number one, I would say that please read NCERT of Bipin Chandra. Okay, Bipin Chandra, NCERT, this is one area which you have to read. Okay, NCERT you have to read. This is a basic source. Why is this a basic source? Because this is able to make it easy for all of us to see the history from the decline of the Mughals all the way up to the independence of India. Relatively a very small book in comparison to books like Spectrum. I do not recommend reading Spectrum to any one of you. It's a very bulky book. Okay, you will waste too much time, and it's a guidebook. Already notes are there. You don't have to make notes out of it. Okay, because look, if I am teaching you, it is my there is some responsibility of mine also. If I am taking 35 lectures for modern India and we are going through the process of dictation, old book, only the old book, Abhishek. New book is not that much important. Okay. And NCERT, there's a book of NCERT also, and there's a book by Orient Black Swan. Content is same. You have to just go with the book of Bipan Chandra. And for Bipan Chandra also there are 3 books. Go for the one which is just titled Modern India. The title of the book is Modern India. There is one book by the name of India's Struggle for Independence. Don't read that. And there is one book which is more about post-independence, India since independence. Don't read it for now. Okay, so we are just going to read NCERT, number 1. Number 2, in class you're going to get notes. I'm going to teach you side by side. I will give you PPTs also. Like see, in PPTs you will get everything. Okay, you will get everything, all the important details, maps, charts, diagrams, everything will be there in the class. So what does that tell you? It means that if I have done this hard work for all of you, you have to appreciate it and you have to use it for your betterment. So all these notes, one would be the class notes, the dictation part, and second, the PPTs. Okay, so you do this much. If you have time after that, because the notes that I have in this PPT or which I will dictate over a period of time, they are made from multiple books. I have used the book of PW also, I've used the book Spectrum also, little bit. I've used other books also. Like there are many books of modern India. It's not limited to these 2-3. Since I come from the history optional background, I have read many books. Like Plassey to Partition I have read. There's a book by the name of Modern India by Sumit Sarkar. There's a very famous book by B.L. Grover. That book also I have read for Modern India. So my understanding of modern India is based upon suppose 5 to 7 books. Okay, that's what I've read so far in my life. You don't need to read all those books now, because these notes are going to take care of each and everything. So that's why from the beginning, do not create confusion for yourself. If you just do NCERT and my notes, okay, along with if you have more time, like suppose some of you are planning for a longer term, that okay, you will prepare for 2 years or 3 years, like those of you who have just entered your first year of college, or you will enter your first year of your college, for all of you, there's more time. So you can read the PW books also side by side. But again, in the initial days, do not create too much challenge for yourself. It's better to consume less. Okay, it is just like food. Things look delicious, but after having a little bit of a bite, all of us understand we cannot have all of them. Okay, so it's just like that. Books are also like that. Once you start reading, you will realize how much time it is taking. So that's why what you need to do, you have to learn to limit yourself. This is the number 1 essential element for clearing this examination. Learn to limit yourself. Okay, learn to limit yourself, because if you will not learn, challenge is going to come. If you go for 4 books, 5 books, if you go by YouTube videos here and there, because look, there are too many creators on YouTube. Many of them, they know that which are the clickbaits on which students are going to click. They know about it. Okay, they will make videos like this, that I can teach you modern India in 10 hours. I can teach you modern India in 5 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, 15 minutes. I'm waiting for 5 seconds. These things are not going to work. Okay, shortcuts do not work. But at the same time, we should not complicate things for ourselves. Notes are good enough, Pavitran. Along with notes, just read NCERT. NCERT is the basic building blocks for everyone. So I will always recommend that read NCERT, because UPSC also makes questions from there. Okay, UPSC also make questions from there. And it's not like that all the questions in prelims will come only from NCERT. No, it is not like that. But the thing is, it creates a basic plan. Okay, it creates a basic plan for all of us. All right. Plan B, Irfan, in the initial days, it is not required. just go through the process of the studying for at least 1 year. Then towards the end of our classes we can discuss about what should be your approach. But in the beginning days, do not think too much about plan B. Okay, don't think, because the problem is if you think too much about plan B, the plan A will get affected by it. So we should not affect our plan A, which is to clear civil services in the initial days. I often say that first 2 years give everything to UPSC, then start your diversification process. You can go for your state PCS, or you can go for some any other exam which you feel like it is good enough, but we should first try to give everything here. Okay, not in the beginning. Okay, not in the beginning. Hence the class notes which will be there in here, it will cover majority of the things from the PPT. So from PPT you don't have to make notes. PPT are here for the sake of reference. Like suppose if you want to see arrival of the Europeans, okay, which was the pathway of Vasco da Gama, you want to revise it after suppose 3 months, so at least you will have the PPT. So PPT are supplementary, you don't have to make unnecessary notes from there. I will help you out with the process of the notes in the class itself. Just go through 2 to 3 classes, okay, just go through 2 to 3 classes, and that will make it easy for all of you. Just 2 to 3 classes and you will understand everything. Okay, because this is our first crucial class, the first class in which I have to first make you understand what is the syllabus of modern India. Then I have to make you understand which kind of things we will explore in modern India, which we have just done. And now about sources. Third, if you wish to go for it, okay, if you have more time, you can go with the book of UPSC wala. Okay, you can look the book UPSC wala, also you will find majority of its content is also from the other books, naturally, because we are not historians, we are just teachers, or we are just content makers. We will depend upon other writers. So this book has also taken some of the part from the spectrum, etc., etc. So don't go for unnecessary. Okay, yes, if you just do NCERT and my class notes, as I've told you already, my class notes are also based upon multiple books, including some of the ideas given in the UPSC wala. So if that work is already done by me, why do you want to waste your time? We have to protect ourselves. Okay, we have to ensure that from the earlier days itself we are very crystal clear. Little bit of information here and there you can read, but naturally time is the most important currency when we start preparing for civil services, because you have to take care of many things. Okay, it's not just about one subject, you have too many subjects actually. You need to understand that, like the 20-25 subjects, if we just add everything, and naturally it is not an easy task. So from the early days we should go for simplification. Okay, simplification. Yes, Brijesh, no need to worry my friends. Okay, if you have a science degree, it is good enough, no need to worry about it. I am also from engineering background. Okay, after doing my engineering I started preparing for civil services, and it's been like 14 years since I have been reading or teaching history, so it's been a long time for me. So no need to worry, it doesn't matter from which background you're coming. What matters is this: intent. Are you taking classes on a regular basis? Are you making your own notes? Are you ready to learn about answer writing? Are you ready to do the hard work on daily basis? Can you stay consistent? Okay, and can you create balance in your preparation? All these small things are going to be required, and if you will do all these things in a systematic manner, let me tell you, you will not face a challenge in this examination. This exam knows how to shake people. Okay, like this year's prelims, they knew how to shake people. In the end, what would be the cutoff? All of you just tell me, what would be the cutoff? The cutoff would be somewhere around 75 or even less than that. Some people have cleared who are scoring even 72 marks. Okay, it means it doesn't matter what kind of paper comes, you have to take care of your duty. And these many questions were there to get that much marks. Okay, so that's how life is all about. Okay, only class 12th. Okay, I will dictate Tej. Okay, I will dictate notes starting from today. Right now, so far since we are just having a discussion, so I'm not dictating side by side, but I will dictate side by side. Okay, that's how it's going to be. All right, I hope all doubts are clear. No, running notes you don't need to make. If you wish to make it for your own understanding, you can do so. I used to make running notes of the classes when I used to do the foundations. Okay, I used to do that. So no need to worry about that. No need to worry about that. Just do what you wish, because in the broader notes, okay, which I will dictate, I will take care of everything. Look, we have made this process very systematic over a period of time, and you will get even the notes in your portal also. If some of you who are working professionals, you are not having enough time to write also this, So you can use those notes also because they will be mostly similar. Okay. The duration of the live class, Priyanshu, as you have asked, it will be somewhere between 2 hours to 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours is the ideal time which I will be taking on daily basis, and in 2.5 hours we'll have good enough of discussion, and some, because the moment you will have your second classes afterwards, then you need some more time for that also. So that's why I will take 2.5 hours. Okay. All right. Debulina, what you can do, you can buy an atlas. Okay, you can buy an atlas of Oxford. So that will take care of maps here and there. That is going to be useful. All right. For how many months? For modern history, Sampath, we will take 1.5 month. Okay, somewhere around 30, 34, 35 classes. Like today, we are starting with it. Today is 18th of June. Okay. My last class is largely going to be on 1st of August, which will include even post-independence. We will have classes 6 days a week. So every day we are having classes except Sunday. Sunday you will going to have your other classes or some form of revision, etc. is going to be there. So that is there. All right. So I hope everything is now covered. Akshar, initially I think it is going to be one classes. Rest the academic team will tell you. My work is more of a faculty. I'm not the one who is taking care of the administration or the schedule of the other classes. I will take care and manage my classes and my schedule naturally along with yours. So that part I will take care of. I hope each and everything is now clear, because look, these are endless things. We can talk about this for 2 days, 3 days. It will not matter. It will not make much sense. And slowly you will also realize we will solve, yes, very importantly, we will be solving previous year questions in the class. We will solve PYQs, both of prelims plus as well as mains. Okay. Both we will solve in the class. So what more do you require? You don't need anything more than that. We'll be solving that here itself. Okay, we'll be solving here itself. All right. The lecture plan for my class will be given to you, like starting from today, introductory part, then 2-3 classes will be on arrival of Europeans. Like I've told you, this is exactly the plan which I'll be following for teaching you. We will start from here. We'll start from arrival of Europeans, then the Carnatic Wars, then 18th century. Like this, we'll be covering majority of the topics. Okay, we'll be covering majority of the topics. So you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, my work is to make you a person who can fight in for this examination. Okay, you can fight very clearly. So that is something which we'll do. All right. Syllabus, Shanti, will be covered before that. Okay, for 2027 students, it will be covered before that, at least a month before that. So don't worry about it. Okay. No worries, Ramya. You can just watch some of them live. Some of them you can just go with the recordings also, and some PDFs will be uploaded, which will be taking care of the notes of the class. So you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, don't need to worry about it. Current affairs are not that much important in modern history. Only thing which is important is like this. Sometimes what happens that the personalities who are in news, UPSC asks question on them. Like suppose if we are celebrating some anniversary of an important personality, question may come on that. So that's why we need to just make a little bit of list who all are prominent in this year, and some questions can come in prelims or mains. So that is something which we track, which we will track even later on when we will have the marathon sessions also for modern history. So that we will take care of. Okay. So not much relation, Sai, not much relation and not much related to current affairs. We just have to take care of that. Gunjan, no need to worry. From here onwards, there is only one thing. Progress is going to come along with this. Okay. Rohit, I will be taking all the parts. In Titan batch, I will take all the parts. Ancient, medieval, art and culture, modern, post-independence, and side by side world history. Every part will be taken by me. Okay, Rohit. So no need to worry. I will be taking all the part, because this year we have streamlined everything. So depending as per faculty, I also now know in which batch they will have all the parts. So I will have all the parts in your Titan batch. No need to worry about anything. Okay. Okay. So now I hope the anxiety levels are down now. Okay. No need to worry about anything. We have to just focus on learning. Whatever we are doing in the class, let us just start with that. Okay, let us just start with that. Keep life very simple. Okay, do not complicate it. We don't need to be strategist on daily basis. We have to think about strategy once, then we have to focus on implementation. Okay, all right. I hope it is clear. Ancient medieval we'll do later on. For that, I will recommend the books then and there. Don't worry about everything. Okay, Bhumika, I will teach you answer writing in the class. Okay, I will teach you answer writing in the class. I will give you questions on daily basis starting from tomorrow, not from today, because today is more of a general discussion. I will give you questions on daily basis. You will write your answers, and I will tell you what is the right way, how you can write introduction, how you can write body structure, how you can write conclusion. All those things are going to be taken care of. Okay, no need to worry about it. All right, everyone clear? Niket, we will start with ancient also later on, my friend. What happens with ancient is this: some of the topic listing of the ancient in the initial days, it becomes difficult for a new student to start with. Modern is the easiest part. Okay, modern is the easiest part in general. The other classes will also start. Don't think that I have answers to each and everything. For the academic things, I will take care. For the in general, the part where the schedules, etc., there the management team is going to tell you, like, this is the lecture planner, etc. Okay, Sai, you can use multiple pens, no need to worry. Okay, but in general, you will not have time. When you will understand that for writing a 10 marker, you only have 7 minutes, you will only pick up one pen. Okay, so it's very difficult to use 2-3 pens for writing answers. Like, speed gets compromised, and we will not compromise. Okay, will not make some compromise. Okay, so first let us have 2 classes. Like today we have had our discussion. First let us have 2 classes. Thereafter, if any doubt is left in your mind, then we can discuss it again. Because the problem is, before knowing what we are doing, if we'll think about solving everything, right now we are just talking. We are not doing something substantial. I have just discussed what the syllabus is about, which book you have to study, what is my responsibility, what is your responsibility. Let us first have a little bit of demonstration of that. Let us first have a demonstration of that for 4 to 5 hours, roughly 2 classes, and then I will ask you, if there is any other doubt, then please ask me now. Okay, so that's how it should be, because in the initial days, without understanding, the challenge is going to be there. If you have basic knowledge, Nazan, then you can just go with the classes also. But I always recommend that read NCERT, because NCERT brings good level of understanding. Connectivity is very good in that book. Okay, and they are written from a perspective to teach 12th class students. So that makes it easy for everyone to understand. So that's why I always say that please take it. History as an optional, my friend, I teach history optional, and in fact from 25th of June we will be starting a new batch. It is a good option. This year in top 100 we have 4 to 5 toppers. Okay, we have 4 to 5 toppers in top 100 this year with history optional. So history optional has performed well. So if you wish, you can connect with the team and you can become part of it. Okay, no need to worry. Anyway, shall we start? Okay, let us start with the basic discussion. We'll start with the basic discussion of what is history, then which are the schools of history, little bit of dictation, and today I will end our class within 2 hours, and tomorrow I will start with the first topic of the arrival of Europeans. Okay, first let us start with this. Sociology is also a very good option, Abhishek. It is giving good results. Sociology, anthropology, history, they are giving good result, PSIR. So just go with the process. Tomorrow I can tell you a little bit in 15 minutes what should be the criteria to start with it. Okay, so let us begin. All right, let us begin now. We have taken care of the what is the syllabus, what is the source you are going to use, what we are going to do, how many classes, everything is now clear. Now we are ready for the marathon part. Okay, we have to now march for the next 40-45 days, and side by side we have to do our level best. Okay, all right. Sai, flow will come, don't worry. Flow will come, just go with the classes, everything will come. We have to focus on the process. Psychology is also doing relatively well. Okay, Ankita, you can take that as an optional, but less number of teachers are there for psychology. So sometimes mentorship becomes a challenge. Mathematics is a fantastic optional, Shivani. You can get very good marks in mathematics, but the preparation part is relatively very long. Okay, it takes somewhere around even 1 year for doing mathematics optional. Okay. Geography is also fine, Kavish, no need to worry. Geography is also having advantage in prelims as well as mains. Look, every optional which is bringing in result, you can master it and you can enjoy it. Okay, and side by side you can get selected with it. No need to worry about it. Sociology is good, medical science is also good. Every year many doctors, they clear examination with medical science. One of my friend in 2018, he scored very high marks. He scored somewhere around 330 marks in medical science. So medical science is a good option, but in medical science, remember, you have to read a little bit about the post graduation also, not just MBBS. Some part of the post PG is also going to be required for medical science. Just telling you from the reference, my friend used to tell me that. Okay, I have this second hand knowledge, not the first hand, because I'm neither a doctor nor I have cleared this exam in medical science, but this is what he used to say. He is currently an IAS, so his advice would make sense. Civil engineering, if you are from that background. Okay, I will take these questions tomorrow. Let us start with this. Okay, thank you so much. Let us start with this. Look, what is history? Now let us start with the fundamentals, because this is a very important question. Suppose tomorrow if someone asks you this in your interview, somebody asks you this, what is history? So what would you say? Okay, so we have to know a little bit of a definition about it. Okay, so what is definition of history? So let us try to understand that. So what is history? History, it is an academic discipline. Okay, history is an academic discipline, so it's an academic subject. And what happens in this? What is the main core objective of history? Let us try to think about it. So history, it is an academic discipline which uses narrative. Okay, please remember this. I will give you some examples with respect to this. History uses narrative. Let me help you out what it means. When we talk about partition of India, okay, when we talk about partition of India, there are two sides to this partition of India. One is the Indian side. We are often feeling hurt that Pakistan became separated from India, and in fact over a period of time one part of Pakistan became Bangladesh. So in technical sense, both Pakistan and Bangladesh separated from India in 1947. So history is an academic discipline which uses narrative. Narrative is something which is always going to be there. Since there are two sides, and one is the side of Pakistan. Pakistan feels that partition itself was independence. So for them, partition is an essential part to create their own state. So narrative is always going to be there. Event is same. There's only one event, 1947, okay, 15th of August or 14th and 15th of August. But one side celebrates it completely, that is Pakistan. We celebrate, but at the same time, we have this inner feeling that this could have been even better if partition would not have happened. So history is an academic discipline which uses narrative. For what purpose? Why do we use narrative? To describe, to analyze, to examine events. So history is an academic discipline which uses narrative to describe, analyze and examine events, and we find patterns of cause and effect. And we find patterns of cause and effect. Like suppose when we talk about 1947, okay, there is one perspective from Indian side, there is one perspective from the Pakistani side also. Both try to describe, analyze and examine these events, and we try to understand the patterns, causes, why did partition happen in India, and second, what was the impact of partition. So history, it is an academic discipline which focuses on building a narrative. And always remember, narrative can be anything. Narrative can be anything. If we see partition or if we see independence from the side of the British would say that, if we see from their perspective, they would say that we had a project, we wanted to take all of you people towards a civilized world, we have done that, now we are going out. So you are our children from that point of view, because we were the one who guided you towards becoming a part of a civilization. Now, you may not accept this narrative, but the British or their historians have written this everywhere. They say that we had a project, too many nationalities were there in India, and we were able to bring them into one, and today it is surviving as a single nation. So narrative can be anything. Narrative is something which can be built. Okay, so history, it is an academic discipline which uses narrative. On any point, there can be multiple narrative. Like when revolt of 1857 was happening, okay, at that point different opinions came. The British said revolt of 1857 was a revolt between civilization, where they call themselves as civilization, and all of us as barbarics, not civilized. So they said it was a war between a civilized people and uncivilized people. This kind of narrative was created by them. And then they tried on their own to describe which events happened. They tried to understand what were the reasons of revolt of 1857, what were the consequences of the revolt of 1857. So history is an academic discipline which uses narrative to describe, analyze, and examine what events are described, analyzed, and examined. And finally, we try to find the patterns of cause and effect. This is a complete definition. Okay, this is a complete definition of history. What is actually history? If tomorrow anybody asks you this, what is history? So please tell this definition. Okay, so for every subject you should know at least a definition. If somebody asks you what is geography and you're from geography optional, so you should tell what is geography at least. Even if you're not, then you have studied geography, it's NCERT. You have to know a little bit about it. Similarly for history also, since we are studying this subject, so we should know what is history. Okay, that gives a very good feeling to the person who is asking this question. This person has not studied just for clearing examination. This person has also studied for the sake of understanding the subject. Okay, for the sake of understanding this from different perspectives, and the conceptual clarity looks very in control when it happens. Okay, like Abhishek has said, only winners write history. Yes, this is true to some extent. Like if we see the history of World War I, World War II, everything is written from the victor's side. And we always have these great personalities. Like when we talk about Mahatma Gandhi in modern India, in medieval, we have suppose Akbar, or we have Alauddin Khilji. In ancient, we have Ashok. So these are the important personalities around which majority of the history is written, because everybody is interested in knowing about them. Everybody is interested in knowing about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Okay, everybody is interested in knowing about the major personalities who have done something significant in history. That's why history often revolves around great personalities. And often we see creation of a narrative. The narrative could be true, it may be false. But history is something which is written like this. Okay, and always remember one more thing. Whenever somebody writes history, history is written on the basis of sources. History is written on the basis of sources. Okay, why sources? Because if there are no sources, then naturally there is no difference between history and mythology. You must have heard this question, that is Ramayana 100% true? Whatever stories that we hear in Ramayana, are they 100% true? Or whatever has been mentioned in Mahabharata, is it 100% true? Right? So you will be asking like, it's very difficult to say anything about it. Okay, why? Because we do not have the sources. There are two types of sources that we have. One is archaeological. Like suppose if somebody talks about Harappan civilization, and in Harappan civilization we have some cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and we do find that these people have created cities, and it is purely visible from the cities or from the infrastructure that they have left behind. So that is an archaeological source. If somebody was responsible for creating best of the coins, so naturally it is easy to understand if we have those coins. Like we say Guptas, they made best coins in Indian history. So that is an archaeological source. So archaeological sources are these are the material things which are left behind by humans, which includes inscriptions, coins, any structure, even human skeleton. When we try to understand about the evolution of the human being, like starting all the way from Australopithecus to Homo habilis, to Homo erectus, to Homo sapien, to Homo sapiens sapiens, how did humans have evolved over a period of time? Again, there we use archaeological sources, because there is no one to tell us exactly how evolution has happened. So we have to depend upon these skeletons which we have found to understand, okay, how things have happened. So archaeological sources, and second, literary sources. Okay, now again, literary sources are only available in Indian history starting from Vedic period onwards. Starting from Vedic period onwards, we have seen the beginning of the literary history. So when we see in comparison overall, history is written on the basis of sources, but the history part, which is an academic discipline, it always creates a narrative which tries to describe, analyze and examine events and identify the patterns of cause and effect. This is a definition of history and how history is eventually written. Okay, and why writing history requires sources? Because history tries to reveal truth. It may not succeed, but at least it tries to reveal truth. That's why history is often compared to science, even though at its core it's an art subject, but it is also compared to science because we talk about causes and consequences. In science also we always talk about what's the cause of some chemical reaction, what's the outcome. Just like that, in history also we try to find cause and effect of each and everything. So that's why many people say history is also having this scientific bent of mind. It is not something which is only an arts, only subjective in nature. There is some level of objectivity in history also. This is exactly what we need to remember. And what has happened actually, that Indians were not very good with history writing. Okay, remember this. History writing, Indians were not very good at writing history in general. Even though there are multiple explanations with respect to it, but let us not go into it because it is not required for general studies. But history writing is something which did develop to some extent in India during the ancient times. Kalhana, he is considered as a famous writer from Kashmir. You will read about Kalhana in medieval history or in the later ancient part. Kalhana, he has written a famous book by the name of Rajatarangani. Okay, Rajatarangani, a famous book is written in which he has put down what is the responsibility of a historian, and he writes history very beautifully. After him, we see many people wrote history. During the medieval period, history writing was relatively of better level than the ancient times. But in general, overall, the historical consciousness was weak in comparison to other societies. And for the first time, systematic history of India, to some extent, it was written by the British. When British came to India, like I've told you, British, they created a company in 1600 and then eventually they came to India, they set up factories, and finally after the middle of 18th century, they started becoming politically relevant. When they became politically relevant in India, now they wanted to understand about Indian customs. They wanted to understand about Indian people in general, but they were not finding books, okay, which they could understand. That's why they started working on writing Indian history. So Indian history has become systematic because of the British efforts. That's why over a period of time, multiple schools have emerged. Multiple schools have emerged which are responsible for writing Indian history. Multiple schools have emerged. In fact, the first school which emerged, which wrote about Indian history, it was the British school or the colonial school. There are multiple ways of writing like Cambridge, etc. But just for the sake of simplification, we can just remember the word colonial school. When British were writing history, they were creating a narrative that Indians are not good enough for self-governance. Indians always need a despotic ruler. Like this, they started writing about us. They wrote many things which were completely wrong. They over-exaggerated the work of the outsiders. They wrote a lot about Alexander's invasion, and they said that Alexander tried to made India a better civilization, but time was not good enough, so he went back. So they focused too much on from the European point of view, which we call Eurocentric model. They wrote many things, but majority of the things were justifying the rule of British in India. When they started criticizing us, like they said that Indians do not know how to write history, Indians in general, they have not had any form of self-governance, Indians had had a dark age. They said that 18th century was a dark age. There was political decline, etc., etc. So when they started criticizing us on each and everything, then a new school of history emerged to build a different narrative, and this is known as nationalist school. Nationalist school had people like R.G. Bhandarkar, K.N. Shastri. All these were historians who has written about the nationalist school. Nationalist school tried to create a good impression of Indians. Like they said that Vedic period was the golden age for women in India. They said that Gupta period was also a golden age for literature. Okay, so they wrote about many parts, many aspects of ancient India in order to improve the pride which is associated with the achievements of Indians. They wrote about 6th century BC, where there were republics in India. But the second school countered the narrative of the first school. The first school was trying to make us believe that we are not good enough. Okay, we were not good enough. All right. No, Kavish, the history which is written by the British is not 100% correct. This is what I've told you. History can never be 100% correct. Anybody who is writing history, they will somehow have some kind of biasness. And the British, they were completely biased. Okay, the British, they were completely biased, and their biasness could be seen the manner in which they have criticized each and every aspect of Indian history. That is something which we need to understand. The colonial school was justifying their rule. It was countered by the nationalist school, but somewhere the nationalist school also did not do complete justice to the history of India. And both these schools, the earlier two schools, only focus on one thing, largely political history. They did not care much about social history. They did not care much about economic history. The religious history was covered to some level by the national school, but in general, research was not done in other areas. Then we see the rise of the third school in India. Okay, these two schools were largely relevant before till the time of Indian independence. Once India became independent, then we see the rise of the third school, which is known as Marxist school. Marxist school has played a very solid role in India. They have tried their level best, focused towards social history, economic history. Diversification of Indian history has happened. More research has been done side by side, okay, by them. Over a period of time, one more school emerged. This is known as subaltern history, okay, or subaltern school. Subaltern school said that the first three schools, irrespective of the narrative they built, it was largely built towards some people only, or only some rulers, they were covered in the history. Nobody was taking care of the history of common people. Okay, like I always give this example to students that you and me, okay, our generations have also been living in India for a very long time. And there's a very high chance that at least somebody from our family, if we see our lineage tree, somebody must have done something significant. But do we know anything about them? We know nothing about them. Okay, some of our forefathers, okay, from our families must have done something for India's independence. Okay, but we only know about few leaders who were in the limelight. So always there's a section of the society, the largest section of the society, which is not given much space in the history. That's why we say that the history is largely written for the elite people or for the winners. So this subaltern school, it focuses on the history of peasant, tribals, women, all those people so far who have not been represented in history by the earlier three schools. So these are the four schools of history who focuses on different things. The British school or the colonial school focused on justifying the British rule. The nationalist school tried to increase the pride of Indians, okay, by systematically telling the achievements which we had in different realms during the ancient times. The third school, Marxist school, developed more after independence, and okay, and that played a very prominent role with respect to social and economic history writing in India, like focus on writing about the classes, focus on writing about the topics like feudalism, economic history. So economic history became more relevant. And finally comes the subaltern school. Subaltern school is the most recent school. This has developed in 1980s. There was a writer by the name of Ranajit Guha. So he has started writing about the people who come from the background, who have also played a major role in history, but nobody talks about them. That's why the last school is becoming more relevant these days. Okay. So history, as I've told you by its very definition, it creates a narrative. History is not something which is the gospel of truth. Yes, we may agree to have same kind of opinion on something, but that opinion can change very quickly if the sources change. So history is nothing but it's an academic discipline which creates a narrative, okay, which creates a narrative and uses the process of describing, analyzing, examining events, and finally the focus is on two things: cause and effect. So this is what history is. On the basis of this, we have discussed that four schools have emerged which have written about Indian history: colonial school, nationalist school, Marxist school, and finally is the subaltern school. So these are the four schools which have developed over a period of time, who have written a lot about all of us. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone. Yes, 100% Gunjan. Like whenever we talk about any writer, okay, that writer would be influenced by the people around him. That person would be influenced by his own social background. Like suppose if I am today a person who is relatively enjoying some privileges, when I will write history, I will be influenced by the background around me. That is always going to happen. If a person comes from the lowest strata of the society, naturally that person is going to, the history writing is going to incorporate those things in a better manner. So history writing depends a lot upon the person who is writing, and over a period of time we have seen many schools have developed which have focused on Indian history. Okay, so can we now start dictation? Can we start with the basic part, like what is history, different schools, and I can just dictate a little bit about this part that we have discussed today. I hope this is clear. Okay, this is the part. Okay, so we can now start with the. So we will be writing just the definition of what is history, and then we will write about the various schools. Okay, and there is also one very small topic which I will discuss towards the end, the periodization in history. Let us start with this. All right, so we'll start making notes. All right. Yes. Okay, so please start writing. You can just write the topic is what is history. The title would be what is history. Okay, so let us start with the dictation part. Please write down the English word history, and you can see on the board also. Okay, these things are also mentioned in the PPT, so that if you find any challenge with respect to name of someone or with respect to difficult spelling, so you can see on the board also side by side. It makes easy for everyone. Okay, so please write down the English word history comes from Greek word historia. The English word history comes from Greek word historia. A4, you can go for the A4 sheets. Okay, A4 sheets are the best, because when you go for the A4 sheets, it eventually creates a better kind of an outcome. Okay, revision etc. becomes easy. So A4 is the standard which we use. The English word history from the Greek word historia, within bracket inquiry or investigation. So what is the meaning of history? History means inquiry. History means investigation. And there is a person who is known as the father of history. He comes from Greece, okay, and his name is Herodotus. He has written this word historica. Okay, so there's a person, he is a Greek writer, his name is Herodotus, and he has written this word historica. So he is known as the father of history. Okay, he is known as the father of history. So please write down the English word history comes from the Greek word historia, within bracket inquiry or investigation, full stop, full stop. Herodotus, you can see the name on the board. Herodotus is considered as the father of history. Herodotus is considered as the father of history. Full stop. Now please write down Professor Richard J. Evans. So he is a professor from England. Professor Richard J. Evans states that history is an academic discipline, the same definition which we have been discussing multiple times. Professor Richard J. Evans states that history is an academic discipline that uses which uses narrative to describe, examine. History is an academic discipline which uses narrative to describe, examine, question, and analyze. लूज शीट्स में स्टार्ट कर लो विपासा, ओके, इट इज बेटर. फिर आप उसमें कभी एडिशन भी करना हो, इफ यू वांट टू डू सम एडिशन इन दैट इज इजी. So in books it becomes difficult. So it's always better to have these A4 sheets, okay. Or you can have a register also, no need to worry. Academic discipline that uses narrative to describe, examine, question and analyze past events and investigate their patterns of cause and effect, Full stop. I hope this part is done. Okay, so we have discussed this multiple times. Only one addition of information, that history is a word which comes from the word historica, or which comes from the word historia, which specifically links to the word inquiry, okay, or investigation. When we inquire into the past events, that is what is history in very simple words. And for the sake of better clarity, we have written this definition. I'm going to go a little bit slow on the dictation in the early classes. Slowly we will pick up pace. So those of you who are doing it very quickly, don't worry that we are going a bit too slow. Slowly we will increase our pace. Okay. Please write down next paragraph. Historians often debate which narrative best explains an event. Historians often debate which narrative best explains an event, as well as the significance of different cause and effects. Full stop. This further leads to multiple narratives. And different classifications. Okay, so the last paragraph, what does it mean? It means that, like, suppose one person has written about India from the colonial perspective, one has written from nationalist perspective, third from Marxist, and the fourth one from the subaltern perspective. Which narrative is the best? It's a very difficult question. Why? because everybody is writing from their own point of view. So we often have to see which narrative is coming at the most acceptable one. So we often see topic by topic and where the logic looks relatively correct. Okay. So the second paragraph that we've written, it is mostly about that. Now please write down the next heading. Please write down the next heading. Write down next heading. Schools of Indian historiography. Schools of Indian historiography. Write down the heading. Schools of Indian historiography. No, Kavish, history and archaeology are not same. Okay, archaeology is one of the process which helps in getting us sources. Like suppose there is an archaeologist who was responsible for digging the Harappan area, okay, which led to the later on the announcement of the discovery of Harappan civilization. So archaeologists, what they do, they try to ensure that the sources or the remains of the previous civilizations or the cultures, they are protected. That is the work of the archaeologist. Okay, so that work is done by them. Once the sources became clear, the narrative is built by the historian. So both in a way work together. First work is done by the archaeologist, second level of work would be done by the historians. This is how it is. Okay, I hope it is clear now. So please write down the heading, Schools of Indian Historiography. Historiography means the art of writing history. Okay, so the word which we use, historiography, it means the art of writing history. So please write down, Indian history has been analyzed by in the app. I hope you'll be able to see the Pinnacle and Titan, both live classes. Just ask the technical team. Actually, I don't know much about it. Okay, one of you is asking on YouTube. So we are starting from today. This is the first class, okay, with respect to the modern India. So we have just discussed about syllabus. Now we're just writing small things like what is history, schools of Indian historiography that we're writing. So Indian history has been analyzed by 4 schools of historiography, which include colonial school, comma, nationalist school, comma, Marxist school, and subaltern school. Write down first subheading under this, colonial school. Write down first subheading under this, colonial school. Yes, history is something which can prevail without archaeology also, because as I've told you, history is written on the basis of archaeological sources as well as literary sources. So if we have just literary sources and which we know already about, so we would not be requiring archaeologists as such. But at the same time, true history requires both, because archaeology gives us the practical things. Okay, like in literary, I can write anything which may not be true, but that should be matched by archaeology for the sake of corroboration. Like suppose if I say in literary that we created best of the cities, we had this features, but that is not corroborated by the archaeology, it means I'm not telling the truth. But if I can see the city structures and the same is written in the literature also, things are going to come together. The history optional batch would start, my friend, on 25th of June. Okay, the one who is asking on YouTube, it will start. Yes, classes are beginning from today itself for the Titan and the Pinnacle batch, and I'm just introducing you to the topic of history. First, we have discussed the syllabus of modern history, and right now we are going with the basic things. Okay, going with the basic things. Yes, yes, it's a very profound relationship. That's why both go hand in hand. Okay. Yes, yes, the class is for both. Okay, the class is for both, because naturally, like Pinnacle batch, I think it is for I think 2 years, and Titan is for 1 year. Okay, there's a little bit of less time which is taken in the completing the syllabus of the Titan. Pinnacle a little bit more, so it is same for now. Please write down the first subheading, colonial school. Please write down a little bit about it. So we'll write two, three sentences about all of them. So please write down first subheading, colonial school. Write down, colonial school developed during late 18th century. Colonial school developed during late 18th century. Full stop. This school translated Indian texts, okay, Indian texts like suppose Manu Samriti. The Manu Samriti was translated by them to understand about what kind of societal rules Indians are having. Okay, so we'll discuss about that later in detail. So this school translated Indian texts. This school translated Indian texts in order to understand about translated Indian texts in order to understand about Indian culture. In order to understand about Indian culture. Full stop. Full stop. It was done in order to lay foundation of British administration in India. It was done in order to lay foundation of British administration in India. Full stop. The main objective of this school was to make Indians feel inferior. The main objective of the school was to make Indians feel inferior about their past. To make Indians feel inferior about their past in order to justify British rule. So what they were doing? They were telling us that you have never seen any kind of civilization. You have always lived under despotic rulers. You do not have any kind of democracy at any point of time. That's why through this they were trying to just break down our confidence, and side by side they were justifying their rule, that we are here for your betterment. We will take you towards modernity. So just accept our rule as it is. Okay. Yes, history, Shivendra, history can be derived from the folk tales and stories also. Okay, but again, there's a very big challenge which emerges when we start interpretation of them, because 100% validity can never be there. Okay, but in the case of tribal people, that is used for the creation of history or for writing history. That is used in that case. Okay, Telegram, my dear friends, it is not working in general. Telegram, I hope you know that NEET paper is going to be conducted. I think this weekend it's going to be there. So NEET paper would be conducted, and that's why the government has put a ban on Telegram for one week, I think. That's why I'm not even giving you my Telegram ID, because you will not be able to use it. So I'll share my Telegram ID of the groups so that we can have discussions on that later times. Okay. Yes. After using VPN, it is working, but why to take unnecessary challenge at this point of time? Okay. Subaltern school is a critique of all the schools in general, because subaltern school says that you are just focusing on the elite history, you are not focusing on the history of the common people. So that's why Rajul, so subaltern is more of like using it for everyone. Okay, they want that real history should come into the light. Okay. Okay, please write down next heading, nationalist school. Write down second heading, nationalist school. Please write down, nationalist school developed in the 19th century to counter the narrative of colonial school, full stop. This school did research in the field of polity, as well as religion. This school did research in the field of polity as well as religion, and tried to restore confidence in Indian culture. Look, in the long term, it's better to ensure such processes that paper leak should never happen. But as an emergency measure, they must have seen the threat perception from Telegram. That's why for a week they have done it. But naturally, it is going to affect students, because many students depend upon Telegram for notes, for videos, etc. Many things. So again, it's not a perfect solution, but considering what has happened to 22 lakh students just a little time ago, I feel that it's an emergency kind of a situation for them. So that's why the government has taken this step. Again, there need to be better processes. So this thing should not happen in the first place. But at the same time, considering the situation of this time, we have to always see from the point of the larger interest. Okay. So if it is being done only for a little time, we can accept this, because naturally if leaks kinds of challenge will happen, so everybody is going to get affected by it. So for the larger societal purpose, this is not a best solution, but this is a solution which they think it is going to work. So that's the only thing which is there. Okay, we should focus on history. You can take history as an optional. One of the student was asking, history is a good option, no need to worry about it. Okay, students are doing pretty well, so no need to think too much about it. Bhuvaneshwar, you were asking about this. Okay, Rafin, in the initial days focus on UPSC, after a little bit of a time focus on the other things. Okay, Sneha, I do not know that if there is any other subject. In majority of the cases, it's going to be only one. You will learn a little bit more about this in the coming times, that announcements will going to come. You will learn about it in a little while. Okay. No, Sajal, our civilization was not uncivilized as a whole. Okay, so we'll discuss about those things tomorrow, like what is civilization, why the British used to say something. Whenever somebody says civilization, it means two characteristics should be there. Number one, it should be a literate one. Okay, you should have a script. And number two, when civilization comes into the picture, urbanization also comes side by side. So India had already seen civilization multiple times. First Indus Valley, then from 6th century BC we see the second part of civilization. Okay, then later on from the 13th century AD itself, we see the third part of the civilization. So that has continued. In fact, urbanization has gone up and down side by side. So it's not like that the British were doing us a favor by coming here. So that's all a propaganda. Okay. Let us first complete these notes. Only 2-3 lines are left. Please write down the third subheading, Marxist. Okay. Please write down the third subheading, Marxist. Then I will just take some of the questions for today, and then we'll do it enough and we'll take the class tomorrow. Please write down Marxist school became prominent. Marxist school became prominent after independence. Marxist school became prominent after independence. Full stop. It focused on the economic reinterpretation of history. It focused on economic reinterpretation of history. Economic reinterpretation of history means what was the role of economic factors in shaping history. Okay, so they often focus a lot on the economic factors. So they focused on economic reinterpretation of history. Full stop. It used Western concepts. Like class, feudalism. It used Western concepts like class, feudalism, etc. to explain transition in Indian history. Transition in history. I will take some of the remaining doubts towards the end, my friend. Okay, no need to worry. And if you are already enrolled, it's better to go to the app, because on YouTube sometimes we see too many comments and not able to decipher. Too many comments comes all of a sudden. Okay, but anyway, I will take the relevant doubts towards the end of the session. No need to worry about it. Okay, please add on the next heading, subaltern. Please write down the next heading, subaltern school. So please write down subaltern school developed in 1980s. Subaltern school developed in 1980s, and it gave more space to those sections of the society, who were not represented. It gave more space to those sections of the society who were not represented in history. Full stop. That's why it is said that subaltern school focuses on history from below. That's why it is said that subaltern school focuses on history from below. Okay, so that's about these schools, the 4 schools. Okay, the 2 schools, Marxist and the subaltern, have become important after independence. Before independence, we had these 2 schools fighting against each other, the colonial school and the national school, because once you become independent, the colonial school was now gone, and the national schools, its immediate requirement was now not felt. So that's why diversification of the history writing has happened afterwards. And we have many historians who are linked to this part of the Marxist history writing, which includes D.D. Kosambi, which includes R.S. Sharma. The NCRT is written by him, R.S. Sharma, in ancient India. Romila Thapar, all these are historians linked to that. And many people are linked to this subaltern school, which includes people like Ganendra Pandey. Many people are linked to this, Ranajit Guha. Many people are linked to that. Okay. All right. So, yes, Ranjit Guha, you can mention Gunjan. No need to worry. Okay. For the marginalized schools or the history from below. Yes, among approaches. Pritesh, okay, that was a quick introduction just for the sake of understanding. UPSC will not ask you this question in the examination. This is just for the sake of your understanding. Like, what is history? How many schools of history do we have? And this is just for the sake of understanding. Okay, it's just for the sake of understanding. Yes, Shivraj, I have served government of India before from 2017 till 2021. I was in government. I was there as an assistant commissioner of income tax. I was in IRS service and have been selected twice in 2016 exam and 2018. First time I got the rank of 369. Later on, I got the rank of 146. Okay, so this is a brief introduction just for the sake of it. I hope all of you have got your doubts resolved today. The lecture timing for the Pinnacle batch, my friend, it's going to be the same. It's going from 11 to 1:30. The time is going to be 11 to 1:30. Okay. All right. Whoever has written this comment that you are not taking the doubt, please rewrite your doubt or just copy paste it so that I can see it now. Harwani, actually, I was teaching even before I got selected. So there was a natural transition for me and I was helping out students. Many students were getting selected. Even when I was in civil service, I was teaching them or helping them out with what to do, what not to do. So I just realized that my long-term calling is teaching. That's why I took this decision. Naturally, with a little bit of safety net after working for a few years. So that's how it was. Okay. Yes, we will have second class tomorrow, same time. We are going to have same. I'm not just ending the class right now, but just telling the answer. Okay, just telling that. Okay. Yes. How you can watch the lecture on. That's what I'm saying. That you have to see that to a technical team. Okay, you must be having login and password. I think majority of the time it works by your phone number. You just generate a password and then you can join it. Okay. Classes nahi okay, some of you are not able to see. I will tell it to the technical team. Okay, I will tell them. I'll just message the technical team that some of the students who are enrolled, they're facing challenges, so they will reach out. Okay, I hope they will reach out today itself, so your problem will get solved. But for the first class, I think the content is the same. Okay, the content is the same on YouTube as here also, so you have not missed it. I'm very sorry if you're not able to do so, but I will just tell the technical team that there is some challenge with respect to you or some of you. Okay, so they will take care of it, and by tomorrow morning it will be resolved, and hopefully you will see the lecture live tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Yes. We will discuss small things later on also. Okay, you can use sheets, Gia, that is better. Okay, sheets are always better, easy to like if you want to add something to some topic, it becomes easy later on. Okay, like suppose if you're revising, you're reading NCRT, some other book, so you can just add one page in between and you're done. In the case of the book, again you have to paste, waste, all those challenges will come, so that's why it becomes easy. No, answers would be like very objective. We don't have to write in his story. Tomorrow I will introduce you to answer writing also. Those of you who are not able to watch lectures, like one of the students is telling, please update the app also. Sometimes app is not updated and that can also be the reason you're not able to log in. So just look at that from your side, and rest from the side of the technical team. I will just tell them that some of the students were facing issues, so they will sort it out. Okay, sort it out. Okay. Yeah. Lenin, what to read from that, I will tell you tomorrow. But we will start with the arrival of the Europeans topic tomorrow, and then we will take it slowly. Harwani, when your polity teacher will come, what are the maximum weight topics in history? Like, okay, like this. So what you're asking is this, that which part is very important? It's difficult to say. Even in polity, you have seen in this year's prelims, questions were not from the basic topics. So it's very difficult to say which part comes like what, but still what we can understand, there are few topics which are more important for prelims, like arrival of Europeans. Few topics are important for mains, like the British policies, British economic policy, British or social religious reform movements, or national movement. National movement is important both in prelims as well as in the mains itself. Okay, so we will be discussing these things when we will discuss PYQs. You will get the exact weightage, but again, every year the composition of questions is not going to be same, and we have seen this multiple times. And this year there was an abrupt way of changing the paper also, but this is something which has happened multiple times in the past also. Very dynamic questions came, but the questions were relatively doable in the modern section. Okay, I'm repeating it multiple times because the way I had taught to some of the students previously in the batches, these things I had discussed. I had even discussed about the Mehalwari system in the Awadh region, how it became responsible for the revolt, which commission was appointed. All those things I had discussed. I discussed about the debate between Subhash Chandra Bose and Gandhiji multiple times. So there were questions which were doable. Even the question with respect to the commission, like one of the demand of Gandhiji in his 11 demand is the pound sterling ratio. The same question came. So you have to keep your eyes open. You have to just keep your mind open when you're watching classes, and you will face less challenge in the examination. Okay, so that is going to be there. Yes, Sudeep, I will tell the team that they will add the bridge course today itself. I will tell them. Okay, Sampath, I resigned because naturally for me it was more of a calling that I had to focus on that area where I can excel throughout my life, which I want to do throughout my life. So I felt that I get more satisfaction from teaching than by just doing a specific part of a service. That's why I came towards this. And do not think that just if one or two or three people have come in the education industry from that area, so resignation is something which is required to be done. Nobody is resigning. It just depends upon your space. How ready are you to live a challenging life? Because being a faculty, being an entrepreneur, it's a challenging life in comparison to the life which you will get as a bureaucrat, because there you have security till you retire. Okay, so that kind of mindset should be there, and you should be happy about doing what you do. So I'm happy about what I'm doing, and side by side things are like moving out in the right direction. So no need to worry. Okay. Optional preparation, if you're preparing for 2027, then you should do as early as possible because it takes at least 5 months. So I would advise all of you to start with your optional preparation by the next week. Choose your optional as quickly as possible. Okay, go through the process, and for choosing your optional, just depend upon 2-3 things. Like number one, you should have interest in that option. You should have some toppers from that option. You should see who is the mentor who can teach you that option if you want to take coaching. And most importantly, you should be able to understand a little bit about PYQ. So if you can see this, you can take care of it. Okay, no need to worry. Lenin, just wait for tomorrow's instruction. Tomorrow I will give you instruction what to read from NCERT. But the first chapter which you read is the arrival of the European. It is roughly the chapter number 3 in your Bipan Chandra. Okay, that chapter number 3 takes care of the arrival of the Europeans. So you will start from there. Later on we'll discuss the rest of the part, because first 2 chapters are dedicated to the Indian history and its transition, decline of Mughals, rise of states and the 18th century, and then they write about arrival of Europeans. But we will go in the otherwise because this comes first in chronology. Okay, so we'll start from here. So if you want to read from today itself, go with the chapter of arrival of Europeans. All right. Manish, look, every optional has some major pros and cons. So what is the major con of history optional? Syllabus, some people say it is relatively on the wider side. Okay. Second, some people say that we have to take care of 4 different parts, ancient, medieval, modern world. So that becomes challenging for some. There's a map question which comes in ancient. Some people are afraid of that. But look, positives are very high. In prelims, you see this year, 21 questions came from history, and people from history optional, they are naturally going to have they're going to have this edge in the prelims. Same for mains, GS paper 1/3 of the paper is history. So that's very big positive, and plus history gives you background of each and every subject. So all those positives will be there, but that doesn't mean everybody should take history option. See, do you have interest? Interest is very, very important, and then anything else. So please use these 2-3 things. And I hope I was able to help you out with the basic things. From tomorrow, we will have systematic lectures. We'll start with the arrival of the Europeans. We will upload this PPT today itself. If you want to just go through the notes, you can go through them. And tomorrow we will start with this. Okay, so thank you so much. I hope everybody's query has been taken, and I hope you must have learned 2-3 things. One, what is the broader syllabus of modern India? And second, what is history and which schools have written about history in India? Only this much we have discussed today. Tomorrow we will pick up the pace and we'll start slowly. Tomorrow I will introduce answer writing also. We will write some answers together and we will understand what to do, what not to do. And by the third lecture, all of you will be on the same page. Okay, all of you will feel better. Alright, so thank you so much, and I'm ending the lecture with this, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 11, and we'll continue. We'll have lectures 6 days a week, okay? Please remember that. We'll have lectures 6 days a week, and sometimes if there is going to be any class off, so you will be intimated one day before itself, and if there are some public holidays, so we are going to have holiday on those days, but other than that, majority of the times, we will have 6 days a week. That is going to be there. Alright, thank you so much, and let us continue and let us work together, and all of you should be very pumped up in the beginning. Okay, this is the beginning phase. Be full of energy, and all of you are the youth, you are the future of this nation, and I would like all of you to be happy and working hard and not complaining about working hard. Okay, that's not the right thing to do in life. Work very hard and then become very successful in life. Take care of yourself, your friends, your parents, everyone. Take care of everyone, but work very well. Okay, and get rid of this mindset that we have limitations. All of us have limitations in life, but if we work in the right direction, we will go very far. Rest we'll discuss these things as we go forward, but for today I think that is it. Thank you so much, and I'm ending the lecture for today, and tomorrow and the notes will be uploaded in the portal. Okay, the notes will be uploaded in the portal, and those students who are facing access issue, I'm just going to talk to a technical team just after this. Okay, I will have a call with them and I will tell them. Thank you so much.